What's up, everybody? Alex here with part 1 of my Spring Pickups video series. I got a ton of really cool stuff over the last couple months, but it is simply too much for one video, so I'm breaking it up into a few different ones to make it a little easier to enjoy. Today's video is all about video games. Let's start with stuff I got at thrift stores. First off, here I have a game for Nintendo Wii. It's Ferrari Challenge. Not one of the best games, but I do enjoy racing games, and it looks like this one works with the Wii wheel, and it's an officially licensed Ferrari product. Just $1.99. Thought it was worth a shot. But then I went to a Salvation Army, and somebody must have dumped their entire PS2 collection, because I got some good stuff. First up is The Adventures of Cookie and Cream. That was $2.99. Now, this sounds like kind of a bizarre thing to get excited about, but it was actually created by From Software, who I'm sure you know is the creators of Dark Souls and Elden Ring and dozens of other amazing games. And what's pretty neat about this specific game is it's a co-op game that you can play with a friend using the same controller. So you would each hold one half of the controller and control the respective character. It's pretty fun. And it is complete. Next is a game in a Blockbuster case. That's a throwback. But this one is Champions Return to Arms, the sequel to Champions of Norath. So it is, of course, disc only, but with a Blockbuster case. Again, just $2.99, which is actually a pretty decent price for this title. Next, this one blew me away. I could not believe I found this. Clock Tower 3. Again, $2.99, and it's complete. The outer case is really gross and dirty. I just haven't had a chance to clean it up. I just got this the other day, but I was shocked when I saw this and immediately threw it in my cart. And what's kind of crazy, when I was at this store, there was another guy that had a whole stack of games, and he passed on this one for whatever reason, so no complaints. Another cool game for PS2 is Gauntlet 7 Sorrows, also complete for just $2.99. The Gauntlet series is, a long-running co-op series that's a lot of fun, and I think this may be the most recent one, if I'm not mistaken. Next, I've never been a huge fan of the GTA series. I think the last one I actually played was Vice City, so I figured San Andreas for $1.99. And it's complete, I'd give it a shot. And another amazing find at that store, Half-Life for PS2 for $1.99, and it's complete. This game goes for quite a bit. Of course, Half-Life is one of the most famous PC games of all time, but this version was pretty interesting because it had a new, at the time, co-op mode called Half-Life Decay. So, again, some pretty crazy stuff. And then next, I also found a ton of PC games. But before I get to those, let me show you this. So, of course, this is what I thought was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 movie soundtrack for just $1.99. And I was excited because this is the one movie soundtrack I don't have. I had the first two movie soundtracks as a kid and listened to them all the time, but never got this one for whatever reason. So I opened it up to see if the disc is in there. It's a copy of Ghost of Tsushima for PS4. What? So naturally, I decided to buy it regardless. I wish it had the CD, but I'm not going to complain that it has a great PS4 game instead. And I figure I could probably just burn a copy of the soundtrack and keep it in the nice case, at least until I find a real copy. Okay, and then on to the PC games. So first, a couple kind of goofy ones. I found a Furby PC game. It's Furby Big Fun in Furby Land by Hasbro Interactive. I have no idea if this is a good game or complete garbage, but it was $1.99, and I figured it was worth a look. And then, speaking of goofy, I got Extremely Goofy Skateboarding for PC. So it's an extreme sports skateboarding game, obviously inspired by Tony Hawk, and I'd imagine this probably came out around the time of an Extremely Goofy movie, the sequel to a Goofy movie that featured, skateboarding and the X Games. but again, I think that was like $1.99. Then I found a ton of big box stuff. So first, I got Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, big box. So that was $4.99. Most of these were $4.99, but I had a 25% off coupon, so that's what, like $3.75? Kind of crazy. So unfortunately, this one and one other one that I'll mention in a moment does not actually have the game inside. So it's literally just the box. But I'm pretty sure I already have a disc copy of this game, or, in the jewel case. So I figured for the cool box, a couple bucks, it's worth it. Next up is Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn? Not sure how to pronounce it. But this one is 100% complete with the strategy guide. Again, $3.75. Absolutely crazy. And then this one is sealed. Bill Nye the Science Guy, Stop the Rock. So apparently it's like an interactive FMV game where you have to help Bill Nye stop a gigantic meteoroid that's speeding toward Earth. Crazy. And I think this was only $1.99. Next, this is the other one that is sadly missing the actual game, but I already have a copy, so the original Diablo big box for just $3.75. That's awesome. And Half-Life Game of the Year edition. This one's complete. Again, $3.75 after my coupon. This is one I've never heard of, but sounded really cool. National Lampoon's Chess Maniac 5,000,000,001. So it's a comedic chess game. I mean, I love the National Lampoon vacation movies, and I think I probably read some of the magazines or books as a kid. Probably my parents had them. But I've never seen a computer game by them, and this one was just $1.99. Next, another very cool one is the Oregon Trail 25th Anniversary Limited Edition, and it's in this really cool wooden box. Again, 100% complete with the guide, and that was, where's the price? That's on the, hidden on the side, $4.99. And just two more. Next is a game I wasn't familiar with, but I looked up and sounded cool. It's called Sacrifice. I guess it's like a strategy game from back in the day by Shiny Interactive, who I believe are the developers of Earthworm Jim. I love that game. So, again, $3.75. And finally, I got Totally Unreal, the big box version. So this is like a compilation of Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition and Unreal Gold in one monstrous pack. So it's got the old Kmart sticker. That's pretty funny. Again, just $3.75. Insane. Then, before I get to the other games, I did get some other game-related things at thrift stores. So let's start here. I found the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Tiger handheld. That was just $1.99, and it does work perfectly. I don't have batteries in it right this second, but awesome find. Then I got a Hyperkin Quick Catch Fishing Rod for Nintendo Wii. That was just $2.99 with the box. I love the fishing games on Wii, and I have several different fishing rods already, but didn't have this one, so for a couple bucks, why not? Then I also found at a Goodwill, I found this cool little bundle of an orange Nintendo Zapper with an NES controller. That was $6.99, not too bad. I think Zappers go for maybe around like $20 nowadays, and controllers, this one's in really nice shape too. So that was cool. And speaking of light guns, I found a Sega Menacer. I have always wanted one of these, but I've never actually seen one at a thrift store. And this was a little pricey. It was $36.99, which is more than I would typically pay. But it does have the receiver, it has the manual, and it has every part for the scope, which are pretty hard to find, and I had to do it. I've always wanted one. But now I have to find the actual Menacer cartridge. I think I have a compatible game. I want to say I have like Terminator 2 or something, but I still want to get the actual Menacer multi-cart. Then moving on, oh, one more Nintendo thing. I found an official Nintendo RF adapter for just $1.99. And then a couple PlayStation items. I got an official PlayStation carrying case for $5.99. So that's for the original PlayStation. And speaking of PlayStation, I found a PlayStation Classic. So this was, I believe, yeah, Salvation Army, and it was only $19.96 with both controllers and the HDMI and power cord. So not bad. I remember hearing these weren't the greatest, but apparently you can very easily mod them and load your own games. So for 20 bucks, why not? Next up, a couple things I grabbed online. First off, I got a Sega game that I just learned existed. It's Sega Classics for Palm OS. So this is for actual, like, Palm Pocket computer devices. And I am planning to do a video on obscure Sonic games, and I was like, this is very obscure. So I got it for a great price on eBay. It is complete with the manual and the little carrying case. So very cool, very obscure piece of Sega history there. And then one new-ish PS4 title. I got Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I believe it went on sale for like, I want to say 20 bucks at Best Buy, and I've never actually played Crisis Core, so I figured I'd check it out. And then, moving on, I got a ton of limited run orders in. So, I had, God, probably like a dozen or more orders show up over the last month. And it's mostly stuff from like 2022, so stuff I've been waiting almost 2 years for. So it's about time. But anyway, let me quickly run through everything. Let's start with PS4. So I got the Konami Arcade Classics Anniversary Collection. I got a game called Horror Tales The Wine. Power Slave Exhumed, which is a remake of an old first-person shooter. RWBY Arrowfell. I guess this is based on an anime or something, but I was interested because it's developed by Way Forward, and I love all their other stuff. Next is Shinchan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation, The Endless 7-Day Journey. So it's kind of like a slice of life title featuring the anime and manga character Shinchan, and I hear it's fantastic, so I was really looking forward to playing that. Next is a platformer from Konami called Skeletak. Next up, a PlayStation VR game called Song in the Smoke. That looked pretty cool. And finally, another Way Forward game called Spider Soars that I thought looked really fun. It's kind of like a run-and-gun shooter, and apparently the enemies are like dinosaur spider hybrids. Sign me up. And, oh, actually, one more PS4 game. This one, I feel like, was a little deceptive on Limited Run's part. So it's the Trip World DX Collector's Edition. So I'll throw up a photo here. On their website, they advertise it as kind of a big box that would include a plush of the main character. So I was under the assumption it would be like a big square box with the plush inside, like the special edition for the game Gimmick. Again, check out the photo here. But it's more of just a soft bundle, so the box is like the size slightly bigger than a PS4 case, and the plush is just in a bag. So, kind of scummy, but still excited to get the game. And then I got a few PS5 games, which I can't play yet, but just building up the collection until I get them. So I had River City Girls 2 show up, as well as this nice slipcase to hold the trilogy. So the other two games are not new, but I just put them all in there together. Then also got Spider Soars for PS5. And finally got Thumper, which is a really awesome rhythm violence game, as they describe it. So I have played this on both PS4 and Switch, but it's such a cool game, and I figured someday I'll get a PS5 and PS5 VR, and wanted to make sure I had a copy. Then next I got a ton of Switch games, 2 of which were not from limited runs. So let me start with those. So first, I finally got Sea of Stars. I had this pre-ordered at Target, and I think I got it for like 20% off, so not bad, and then got like a free code for the soundtrack. Really excited to check this one out. And then this, it's not the most exciting game, but probably the best deal I got out of all of these. So I was at our local bin store, which is called Treasure Hunt Deals, where everything is just in random bins, and it's a flat price depending what day of the week you go. So I typically go on Tuesdays, which is the $2 day. So every single item is just $2. So I'm going through, and I see a Switch case sticking out, and it's Disney Dreamlight Valley Cozy Edition. Now, the case was open, but it did have the voucher inside. So if you notice at the top, it says full game download, game card not included, which, I knew and understood. But I was, at the store, I'm like, no way, because I wanted to get this game for my fiance, and I think it retails for at least like $40, if not $50. And I was thinking, somebody might have just screenshotted the code and redeemed it, or, it's already been used, but for $2, I figured, what the hell, if nothing else, I'd get the case to put on my shelf. And got home, grabbed her Switch, put in the code. It worked! $2. Awesome. Best deal. Okay, moving on. Got a ton of Switch stuff from Limited Run. So let me rapid fire through these. First up, got A Boy and His Blob, the Retro Collection. So this is a compilation of the original NES and Game Boy games. Next, got Dodonpachi Resurrection, which is a shoot-'em-up from Cave, one of the most famous ones probably ever. And with this, I also got the Switch Mini Arcade. So it's essentially just like a mini cabinet that you can put your Switch and a Joy-Con into, and it's like a little arcade machine. So I got that, and then also got Escaluda 2, another cave shooter, as well as that one's mini arcade. Moving on, got RWBY Aerofell for Switch, the same as the PS4 version I showed a moment ago. Got Severed, which is a really cool touchscreen-based game. I think I played this a bit on, I want to say 3DS. And it's a really cool game, so happy to add a physical copy. Got the Shin-Chan game for Switch as well. Finally, got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, which is pretty cool because I haven't bought it yet, but they have kind of like a Star Wars classic collection or something. I'll throw a photo up here. But it has, I think, 6 games on one Switch card, and then it comes with digital copies of the 2 KOTOR games. But, like, those are the only ones that aren't on the physical card, but I have physical copies of both, so it's perfect. Next, got a really cool 2D game called Steel Assault that I've been looking forward to checking out. And then got Trip World DX for Switch. Now, it might be hard to see in the video, but this is actually it's like a special edition foil cover variant. I believe it was for some charity or something. I don't recall which one, but thought that was cool. And then finally, another Way Forward game, Extreme Sports. I have the original Game Boy Color cartridge, but that'd be fun to play on Switch. And then got a few kind of collector's edition Switch games. So I got the Konami Arcade Classics Anniversary Collection, Classic Edition. So it's like a silver NES box, like the old Konami games. This one, I'm a little bummed because there's a giant crease going through both the front and back covers, and like the whole point of buying this was for the box, so I may see if I can get that replaced. And then also got the Skeletak Classic Edition, again, made to look like an NES case. And the Spider Swords Classic Edition, which is made to look like a Super Nintendo box. Very cool. And one more, got the Power Slave Exhumed Classic Edition. So this, I believe, was a remake of the Saturn version, which is why it's in like a Saturn-style long box. Then there's a couple bigger ones. Oh, actually, the Power Slave one came with the soundtrack, too. Just wanted to mention that. Then got a couple bigger collector's editions, too. Got the Gargoyles Remastered Collector's Edition for Switch. So this one, I haven't cracked it open yet, but I believe on the Limited Run website, I'll throw up a photo here, it showed that it comes with an exclusive Goliath action figure by NECA. And I've already bought a couple of the NECA Gargoyles figures, and they're incredible. So very happy to add another one to the collection. And then one final Switch game is the Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection Volume 2 Collector's Edition. So this is a compilation of games from the Neo Geo Pocket Color handheld, which, if you're not familiar, was a very, very short-lived handheld from SNK in, I believe it came out in 1999 and then was pulled off the market maybe a year later, if not less than under a year. But it had some really great games. It's not on any of these collections, unfortunately, but there is an exclusive Sonic game that is definitely worth checking out. But anyway, this one includes 8 different games, including a couple of Japan-exclusive ones like Mega Man Battle and Fighters and Ganbare Neo Pokekun, which are really great games. Then a few more things, believe it or not, from Limited Run. So I got D, which is a horror game for 3DO, and apparently they've been catching a lot of flack for this one because I haven't opened my copy yet, but apparently the discs are CDRs, which is really crappy. But they sent out an email saying that they're going to send out free replacement, like actual pressed discs for everybody, so whatever. And then got a couple Game Boy games. First up, a couple reproductions. So I got Trip World for both PS4 and Switch, but I always wanted the original game because it's one of like the rarest Game Boy cartridges in existence. So I had to get both the original version and the DX version. So this one is the original, completely in black and white, and this is a new like Game Boy Color version where it's fully redone in color. And just wanted to get both. And then got a couple original Game Boy games. So this one is called Melon Journey Pocket, which looked like a fun little adventure game. And then this one is called Repugnant Bounty by Starlab. And so I believe this one is like a Metroidvania that looked really cool. Okay, anyway, got those. And then finally, a couple more things from Limited Run that aren't games, but came with these orders. I got the soundtrack to the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for NES on both CD as well as the vinyl, with very cool art from the game's box art, of course. And I have a few more of these on the way, not for this game, but for like the sequels. And then a couple collector's items. So for River City Girls 2, I got the action figure sets. So we have Kyoko and Misako. And it might be hard to see, it looks a little foggy there, but they come with some different accessories. They're like really super articulated figures. They look really great. Here's Misako. See the back of that one. And then they had a promotion where if you bought both figures, you also got a bonus little minifigure of the character Godai. So it's this guy who's in a trash can. Kind of funny. And then finally, something I have been waiting for what feels like forever. The Shantae 20th Anniversary statue. This thing is massive. And I'm a huge fan of this series and Way Forward, and I just absolutely had to get this. And then also, they had an option to get little acrylic versions of the game's box art, because around the base of the figure there are slots that light up. So you can put these in, or if you bought the previous collector's editions of Shantae games like I did, they came with little acrylic figures of the various characters from the game, but I wanted to have both options. So anyway, there we have it. As you can see, a metric crap ton of video games after quite a bit of a dry spell in terms of like thrifting for games. But it's great that all this limited run stuff finally showed up. Found some really amazing stuff at the thrift stores like Clock Tower 3 and Half-Life for PS2. Insane. So, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is there anything you want to know a little bit more about? Let me know. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe if you enjoy these kind of videos, and check back for parts 2 and beyond of my spring pickup series, and check out some of my older videos. I've been collecting stuff for like my entire life, and I find some really cool stuff at thrift stores. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.